Hi, this is Laurie Laizure from To the Trade for Interior Design Community, and I have with me Nile Johnson. Hi, Nile.
Hi.
How did you enjoy Market?
It was so much fun. I had the best time ever.
And who did you stay with?
I don't know, you. Roomie.
I know, we
Nice.
roomed together. We
Yes.
had the best time ever.
We did. I stayed in an Airbnb. I took a shuttle. I thought it was going to break me out into hives. It did not. It was the best.
We did so great together. We were like, just, I don't, we're not the odd couple. We were kind of like getting along like
It
wonderfully. And
was. It was awesome. And that Airbnb was the cutest. Like I was taking pictures of like the information when I left. That's how cool
ah,
it was. Yeah, so
yes, it was really
kudos to
close.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
You would
thought
yeah.
it
stay
was
there
a really
again.
cool. I would actually stay there again. I know Laurie said she would stay there
I
again.
would.
It
I
was
thought it was
cool.
actually at first I thought it was a weird location. And we'll just introduce Marissa too. Marissa Wilson.
Yeah,
Tell us a
sorry.
little bit about we wanted to talk to you because of course you're a big High Point famous now. Tell us.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, we can say that.
Yeah, well, you know. And you had a wonderful tour and you had a panel at High Point.
Yeah,
So tell us a little bit about you too.
I would agree. This was one of my favorite markets ever. So I've been going for 10 years now, and
Oh,
the roommate makes all the difference too. Like I had an amazing roommate. We ran around market the whole time together, and it was just like such a fun experience. But yeah, so I had the honor of hosting a hot spot tour on Saturday morning of market, and it was art and accessories themed. So I
ooh,
took my group to Design Legacy and Lucky Fish Gallery in the art in the Antique and Design Center, and then Wendy O'Connor Home, which is located in Suites at Market Square. And I think everyone with most of those people were new to the people on the tour, which was kind of my goal. I don't want it to be people, that everyone already knows about. So it was really, really fun to introduce them to these like amazing companies. And then on Monday, I had moderated a panel at Odette that was focused on neuroaesthetics, which was a tongue twister.
I
I
bet.
knew I was gonna fumble it, and I totally did, and it's fine. But it was I like just kept having to say that word over and over again.
Yes, you're like commit to memory, neuroaesthetics,
Yes. But it's like
neuroaesthetics.
a really up and coming topic. It was fun to talk about
Oh,
that.
yes.
It's like the hot thing right
It
now. So
is so hot right now. It is so
yeah.
hot. In fact, I have a meeting later this week with a whole group who are talking about the connection between neuroscience and interior design and how, and they're like have their master. I mean,
Yeah.
this is serious stuff, so it's going to be very interesting, and that will be definitely part of next market. So it's an interesting topic that certainly can help designers, maximize profit by understanding how this all works in your brain and how people respond to design. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very validating. It's like we're doing really important work.
Well, yeah, I mean, some
Like,
of it is stuff that you are doing. This is a very interesting conversation I had with a designer that it has a ton of education on this topic. That some of this is just inherent with designers. That how colors work together, how like when you're looking through a magazine, right, and you see like very manufactured design, and then you flip the page and you see something that is like has some heritage to it, like the bones of the design. Like there's something about design that makes us all feel that's like it's like when you see it, you feel it and you know it. Like this feels right,
yeah,
right? Like this feels right. The light looks right, the table is the right size, the chairs are the right size, the color of the patina on the wood is the right. Like it just feels like visually so right. And I think designers inherently, a lot of them have that. Like they just see the pattern of it all, like that's why, I picked circle fixture with another circle fixture. I put squares and my, like you can look at
balances.
the room
Yeah,
and say, this has got squares everywhere, but you're picking shapes and sizes and colors that have harmony and that feel like they have harmony mentally. And that gives people a sense of peace. And that's something that sometimes designers just have like in their soul even. And it's so connected. It's so connected. I love that you are on the forefront of that because it's such a huge topic. It's such a
It was really fun
fantastic
to be a part
thing.
of it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was fun. And I didn't know, I mean, you can get advanced degrees in this kind of sector, but like there's also certifications you can do. And I didn't know that before I was kind of involved with this panel. So two of the people on my panel are certified in neuroaesthetics, and like it really helps them have the language to speak to their clients with, and like
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. So like if you didn't get a degree in it or something, there's
Right,
still more
exactly.
education you can get around
Well,
it.
isn't that the way with design, is that there's always something new to learn? I mean, you never, I mean, think about people who went to design school in the 80s, it's like, there's always something new to learn. There's always some, something, even a new theory or a new technology that we all have to adapt to. And it's way of serving the clients better. And so I think, I think it's fantastic that you're a part of that. How did the panel go?
It was really great. I mean, the designers that were on the panel were like phenomenal and like super knowledgeable. And I just like, they shared their experiences and especially the one, the scientific detail. I can't even repeat it because I'll have to go study a little more to be able to talk about
You don't have the certification.
I don't have that yet. So it was just really interesting. And we had like great audience, great questions. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I think it's a continuing conversation.
Yes.
There'll definitely be more to come.
I think it's really amazing that you said that this market was the best you'd been to, because Nile said the same thing. Nile, you said this is the best market you'd been to. And it was strange because it wasn't like, I think we're still we've overcome some supply chain issues, but there are still some supply chain issues. And the economy isn't doing fantastically well. So there were some beautiful additions, but there were also a lot of things that were, tried and true in the market. So but there was just such an energy, don't you think? I mean, isn't that what you felt, or both of you?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I talked to more people or something. I don't know. Like I saw all of my people, and that always makes me happy because a lot of them I only see at market, and like I just like love connecting with my designer friends who it's all Instagram, and then you get to give them a hug.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
always
feel like
really fun.
them, because
Yeah.
you've been around and watching them, their kids grow up, and the whole nine yard. And then those in person, giving them the hug things, those are just the best. It's like I've gone across market to find someone just so I could give them a hug, because I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna see you very much. I
Me
just have to
too.
check
I'm
out.
like, you're not leaving town without me like talking to you in person. So
Yes.
stay there.
You stay there, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
And I highly encourage you, if you're going to market, if you're meeting these people online, get their phone number, text them. And, I think there's a lot of, I've experienced this when I was first going too, is like that shyness when you know someone online, to transition to in real life. And like, is it going to feel, it's going to feel the same? Or am I going to still, am I going to feel awkward around them or something like that? But I really just encourage you to just take the leap to just, get the phone number, give them a text, tell them you want to be there and support them or whatever, and just do it, because it's so rewarding.
Yeah, I feel like people really want to be, friends, like real friends. Like
Yeah.
so many people are happy to share, their journry or their like,
Sure.
everything they've learned along the way. Like if
What's really going on in their business,
yeah,
what's really, what the real stuff is. And, and that part of that being real too, because sometimes I think this is a truth for everybody, is like social media paints a picture of perfection,
oh yeah,
big time, especially in this industry where everything's so beautiful,
Yeah.
and not the behind the scenes of like, I'm I'm dealing with this really, and I took a picture of myself looking gorgeous, but before that, my kid was yelling at me and crying, and like,
Yeah. Yeah, I actually went to a panel at Universal. Caitlin Peterson was the moderator about nightmare projects. And that was
I
kind of
love
fun
that.
to hear too, because you're like, oh, like this stuff happens to you too. I mean,
Right?
like, yeah, like it happens to everybody.
Yes, yes.
Everybody has problems. I mean, I don't know, like if there's ever been like a perfectly smooth design project, it probably doesn't
No,
exist.
no, it doesn't
Unicorn.
exist. It doesn't
Oh, I'm
exist.
so mad I missed that.
I know, because that would have
And
been a great
her.
one.
I love her.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's hard to see. That's the one part of market that is always going to exist. You're never going to see everything as much, and you're
Well, it's
never
like
going to see
Disney.
everybody that you want to
Yeah.
see, which is really, really tough because of just the logistics of it. I find like the smaller shows are, like ICFF or, when they used to do the 80s show or West Edge. Sometimes the smaller shows are great because like everybody's forced to a small area. So you will literally
Yeah.
see everyone. I find High Point, you will miss people, even people you
Yeah.
absolutely love and want to see. You just will, you try, but it just doesn't, it's impossible to get everybody because especially if they're at a certain level, they're on panels, they're doing tours, there's no way they're busy too. So just the ability to like connect, and it's such a big space. So they could be across, I mean, it's very walkable, but they could be far enough away from you that you're not going to see them,
That's what kept blowing my mind this time. It's like I kept running into people in like where you would completely not expect. Like on my last day, on my way out, I was in a showroom for the very first time, and here comes like one of my like besties from like with the first time I came to market. We've been friends like ever since that first. It was both of ours first time,
Oh
and
my
we
gosh.
bonded over that, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Walking in, I'm like, what? I didn't even know she was at market, and they're like, so like. Even though it's so massive and huge, you can still have those like moments where
I
you just
know you can.
line
It's
up.
like you're sitting down and someone else is coming out of a showroom and you're
Yeah.
we had that with Carla Aston. She was one of my first people I ever met on Twitter and like I don't know 11 years ago, and then she's just comes strolling by. You're just like, oh my gosh, it's Carla. That's so great. I love those moments. So what do you think that if you were a new designer and you're coming to market, I think that one of the strategies we often talk about is, what showrooms should a new designer go to that have favorable terms for designers? It's so difficult to know who's going to let you open an account, what the minimums would be, and they do change too. So keeping those accounts is really difficult sometimes too.
Oh.
But it's about like making money. But I'd like to hear from both of you. What do you think from your perspective were even like two showrooms that you think would be good for a new designer to go and just check out and maybe see if they can open an account? Nile, do you want to go first?
No.
No?
Um,
Well, I can tell you, I think
I,
Kravitz, because
I'm done.
they're a one-stop shop for everything. And they have
Oh,
pretty
well, yeah, definitely Kravitz. I mean,
Kravitz would be
absolutely,
one for me that
absolutely Kravitz.
Kravitz is, I always tell the new designers, if you're going to start with one, really, Kravitz has everything pretty much. So, they're a good go-to, and they're pretty favorable with designers. They really do want to work with designers. And the other that I just like, one of my favorite showrooms at market for designers is Curry and Company. And I will always be loyal to them as far as like pushing designers to Curry, because I have had many conversations with Brownlee, with like, I just, they are a company that I admire their ethics. I know they care about designers so much. They really, really love designers. And yeah, they're a little bit they're high end, but I think every designer who can put them in a project should, because of just how amazing they are as a company. Like I had one time in an interview with them, I was talking to them about what they do for their employees. I don't know if you know, they do a lot of charity work, but they also do this amazing thing for some of their employees. So in the, you know, in North Carolina, Atlanta, they do some stuff that is like helping their employees go to college. So they'll pay for college, which is a lot of places do that, but they'll also sometimes pay employees' kids to go to college. Like it depends on where they are in the world and what matters to that employee there. So sometimes it's school fees for their children. They really like, they think of their employees as family. They do that
Wow.
every couple years. They do a big sale of all the lighting fixtures that, and someday we should all go down for it, because they sell off those lighting fixtures that, you know, maybe it didn't make it to market because it was too expensive, or maybe it just didn't work like for manufacturing. So they sell off all these samples and they're gorgeous. Like I did a video of him going through and showing beautiful, beautiful. But before they open it to designers, before they open it to the public, they let their employees come in and have have things at deep discounts. And they let them have first pick. They don't even let the public or the designers look at it before their own employees get to look at it, which I'm like, who does? I mean, do you know it? Like anybody who does something like that? That is just unheard of for a business. So I just am in love with Curry & Company. I just
I'm
think
not
it's so
surprised
fantastic.
because they're big supporters of the guide, have been since my Cool Girls Guide.
Yeah.
They have been since the beginning. They're always like, what do you need? Whatever you need. You know, I've been on other tours where we took people there and they're like, we'll do mimosas while you're here. You know, it's like they make it so welcoming. And that's what I love about it. They're like, yeah, come every day. Like they have amazing food and they're like, enjoy. Like this time, I don't know if you got over there when they had a like barista doing like.
Oh yes, we were there. We were there. They asked about the barista. We didn't have coffee, but they brought us, they brought me a glass of wine or something.
It
So I
was
was
like
like,
the best
oh.
latte at market. Like it
Yeah.
was so good. And they're just like, enjoy, have a great day. Like, oh, like just, I love that showroom.
They are, and they literally love designers, like love them. So if I were a new designer, to see how a brand really can treat a designer, go over to see Curry & Company. Please just do that. Do that. So I think that would be fantastic. And there's so much education. So if I were a new designer, I would go through, first of all, download the app. Some people don't know this. So download the app. You're going to be able to find the education that you want, the panels that you want. Look it through it because there's a lot. Find out what those little nuggets of information you're looking for your business at that moment. Also think seasonally. Like Nile and I spent a lot of time at this market looking at outdoor furniture. And the reason was I really believe that clients are thinking about outdoor furniture right now. I mean, they're heading into summer season. Outdoor furniture doesn't wear particularly well. There's all sorts of new lines for outdoor furniture. So there's a lot to talk about in that space. And it's a good, it's a good thing to throw in your email marketing. It's a good thing to send out put on social media because people are talking about outdoor, they're wanting to sit by the pool. They're wanting to have people outside and eat dinner outside. Nobody is selling their houses right now because the interest rates suck. So
Yeah, right.
we want to make our backyards as nice as possible, right? Because we're stuck here. So I think, thinking about seasonal content for your audience is perfectly appropriate. And then like showstoppers, like what is it that would be really impressive? And I can tell you that we went to Rochambeau. We saw Mabley Handler's new line. We were like blown away. We were thinking, wow, that was just something special and something pretty stunning. So
Well, Marissa, I'm curious, where would you go?
yeah.
What would be your two places that you would go?
See, I don't know if I can narrow it down to two.
I know that's the hard
The
part,
two is the hard
right?
part. I didn't think the
Right?
two would be the hard part. I thought
the two is the hard part because I did make a little list because one of the things I include in my guide is like a Lucky 7 starter kit, like that's like a wallpaper,
Oh,
a
that's
lighting, a
good.
rug that all has like no minimum.
Oh,
So like
that's
kind of cover like
good.
bases.
ooh.
That's good.
So, but I already You mentioned design legacy. They're like, that's a showstopper situation.
I
Which
agree.
I've been dying to get into that showroom and
Oh,
have not been into it yet. I just like I salivate
Yeah.
over that.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I have not been in there yet. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Kelly is so
yeah,
nice.
I know. So that's
So
another
nice.
showroom where they're like so incredibly welcoming. They're like, come on in, can we get you a glass of wine? Like, and you know, like you look at, it's just like a feast for the eyes. Like the art is insanely amazing. And they have like wallpaper and, you know, fabrics and upholstery. And there was like, on the tour they were showing us, there's this one fabric where you can legit put any face you want on it. Like it had like a George Washington, but you could put your own portrait, your pet's portrait, like anything you want, and totally
Uh-huh.
customize this piece, which I've never seen anything like that.
That
You
is
know,
so cool. So cool.
yeah. So
Oh my
I just
gosh.
like I love it there because it's just like so colorful and fun and like knockout. Like anything you get from there is gonna like make a room.
Sure. Absolutely. I
It's on my list.
1000% agree.
I,
1000% agree.
I gotta get there. I gotta get there.
Yeah. Do I have to come up with another one?
No, no, you don't have to. This is just a fun, like any
No
tip.
pressure.
No
I'm just
pressure.
really curious.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Niall? Do you have any favorites? Well, we had a good time at Arteriers. That was the outdoor was pretty. We thought there were some really interesting pieces. Like there was that long bench that was like 6 foot. That was very
Mhm.
sturdy, and we felt like that would be, if you're thinking the outdoor furniture side, it was like it's always difficult when you're thinking out for the furniture. What's going to last, right? What are the kids not going to wreck? you
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
what is someone not going to fall over? How many people can you fit in? Because you're always constantly like, if you have your kids' friends over or your friends over, it's like, how many people can you fit around the table? How many people, how chairs are limited outdoor sometimes. Like how many people are going to have seats to put their butts in, so maximizing that in any clever way. And we thought the Arteriers thing was a little neat because it was like particularly long bench. So you could imagine kids kind of like smushing right in there. You could get quite a few of them in that because it's so long. And the table was
Yeah.
that long as well. So that was really, I thought that was kind of interesting. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what my favorites would be. I'm drawing a blank.
We did a lot of panel type. I was on a panel for technology with my Doma and Interior Design Society, and he had John McCain on and who else was on your panel? I'm blanking. Oh, AI design person. I'm like, I can't believe I can't remember her name right now. Yeah, so his panel was fantastic. It was all about what apps you're using to make money, So, and I moderated a panel for a new company called All Nine, and they are doing something interesting. So he originally was part of Restoration Hardware, and he signed up a bunch of brands. So for designers who don't have any accounts, he's perfect because it's 250 brands, one click you get on, and you have wholesale pricing and they handle all the procurement. So we were talking about it from the perspective of designers being able to have like some sort of e-commerce, because so many designers have such a great social media, but not huge enough where they're like able to really implement a online store or something like that. But they have enough that like, maybe like just say the average is like 2,000 to 3,000 followers for designers. And then, but how many of those are clients? Less than 1% usually. So what are you doing with the other 99%? Here's your opportunity to, if they're not going to be able to buy your design services, maybe they will be able to buy a lamp or a rug or a chair. So to be able to like pair your portfolio up with some product and not have to handle like shipping it, returns, any of the problems, and to be able to throw that up on your website or throw that into social along with your other stuff to be able to maximize some sort of sale from it. It's kind of like, I think it's almost like an easier version of affiliate marketing, because you don't have to do set up the affiliates. It's just one store, and the percentage wise, like at Know It, you get right around 5 to 7%, and this you get like 20, 25, sometimes 30% profit. So it's much more profitable per sale. So I liked it from an idea standpoint for designers to maximize that money, because it's like we all need those additional revenue streams. Because
And I have a service that's like a design plan where like I put it all together and I send it to them, then I'm done.
right, yeah.
And they're gonna order it, but like I don't get any money then
Well,
from
here's a great way. Now that I'm telling you,
no, you
sign up
can't.
for All
Yeah.
Mine,
Yeah.
because you can send them that with the mood boards, and they can just go ahead and buy. They can, all the people doing e-design, this is the way to do it, because the other thing is it's not a pain for them, because they're not buying, you know, you're not sending them to this store for this and this store for that and this store for this, you know, it's where they're trying to cash out. They have to take their credit card out and put that information into 10 different stores. They get to just do it, and then you get a percentage. You get that 20%, 25% just sent to you, and you don't have to deal with anything else. It's done.
That's
Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's what we liked about that. That was a really good talk. I thought that went over well. And, you know, I just felt that market is, you know, people, and including me, sometimes when you're back in your office and you're put your head down and you're doing work and you're busy, you're like, I don't have to go. I don't really, it's, you know, it's going to be intense. You kind of in your head, I get to see my friends. I get to learn stuff. You know, you think you know, maybe I'll skip it this year, or I'll skip it next year, but so much happens at market. Like there are so many opportunities that come to you. There are so many, those face-to-face meetings are priceless. Like it's the education, the connection. It's something that you need to invest in, even though it is that factor of like, this is going to take time away from my business. Then when I come back, I'm going to be backlogged with work, and I'm going to have to catch up on that work. And then I'm going to have, you know, you think of all the reasons not to do it, but when you're in that moment and you're there, you don't think of any of that at all. You're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I thought about not coming. Like what an idiot I was. Like, it's so important that I'm here. Like, I can't believe I met this person. I can't believe I did this. And I can't believe I did that. And, you know, it's such an overwhelming thing. And, you know, from our perspective with interior design community, you don't know how many people I talk to that have never been, did or don't know it exists sometimes. Like, you know, when you get into design school, you don't always hear about it. You don't always know, you know, there are designers out there who are just starting out that don't even know that there are to the trade products. I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But that's true. I mean, there are quite a few, and not only like the to the trade products, it's just like so much education that is happening, and so many you know, collaborative, you know, meetings that can happen from this, that I just think it's almost, and don't miss it, because, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. Now with even just like doing this tour, how did that come to be? Like, think about your first time at market. How did some of this come to be?
Yeah, I mean, like when I came to market, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I mean, I was still like in design school, and like I, you know, asked a professor like, where should I go? I had no idea what it was. And then, I mean, I fell in love. It was kind of like, you know, oh my God, I can't believe this kind of product exists. You know, like if you're used to just like the showrooms in your town, and I'm in Charlotte, so there's a lot of really good stuff, but maybe at that point I didn't know it yet. You know, I wasn't familiar with them.
Right.
So it's sort of just like, you know, people always compare it to like the Disney World or whatever, of like the design.
Yes.
You're like, I can't believe that this is in the world. This beauty is in the world. I was just
Yes.
I love that though.
yeah. But then I started, then I've always gone ever since the first time. I'm lucky, I'm close by, it's
Yes.
not as much of a travel decision for me, but I was starting to put together, my plan always, like for me and my friends, of like what showrooms should we go to, what educational events, because there's a ton of value. I mean, I can't believe it's free to go. It's free to get a pass and go. Travel costs and it adds up. But it's free to go to market, and like you could spend thousands of dollars on getting the kind of education that you get from some of the panels and stuff. And there's no other way to like really meet these people face to face, like you're saying. I mean, and I'm like a celebrity designer stalker when I'm there too, and like getting all the books signed and all the all the things with the people, and it's just like you go home and you're like, I met Alexa Hampton, and people are like, who's that?
Who's
You're like,
that?
oh
You're
my
like,
God,
how dare you not know?
you don't understand.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I started putting together, I wanted to help people navigate it better. And so I just started using the plan that I was already making for myself and enhanced that so that other people could use it. And, it's grown a lot. Just, I love having like designers participate, and they're sharing their advice and their tips.
I didn't know you did that. I kind of had heard about that, about the guide. Of course, I've heard about it, but I didn't know that was yours.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't put that together, but I didn't know that was yours. And that is so incredibly, I've passed so many people off to that. So, and I have to do it more now that I know it's yours. I'm going to be like, it's going to go out to our mailing. We're just going to throw it out to the mailing list, because that's huge for people. It's such it's so terrible that's the one thing I will say about market, is if you don't go with a plan,
Yeah.
it is
You
too
can't.
overwhelming.
What's the name of the
Yeah.
guide?
Like it is so overwhelming, especially like I think of you when you were talking about like first time your professor, and I think like, and yeah, you're right. There's just the Disneyland experience, but there's also fish out of the water. You feel
Yeah.
like, I don't know anybody here. Nobody cares that I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel awkward, and I don't know where to be or how to act. You know what I
And you
mean?
can have like that feeling of like, I don't belong here.
I don't belong.
you know?
Yes.
And that's what I try to really like remind people. Like, if you're in the industry,
You
you
belong.
belong here.
You
Yes.
belong.
And it doesn't matter the size of your company. Like, I don't have a huge design company. Like, I'm working on it. It's like always, trying to grow it, get, all the things.
Yeah,
But you belong there.
you
Like,
do.
and it's for everybody to like learn and grow.
Learn and grow and
But
connect.
that's how you get farther along, is by coming to things like this.
Yes. And you didn't get asked to do a tour the first time you came.
No, this is
it
like
took a
your
while.
tech, right? Like, I'm on
Yeah.
your team. And so
Yeah, you get to know people, you get to build something, and then you get to share you saw a need for other people to navigate, and you filled that void. So that was genius, by the way. And those opportunities come to people when they experience that creative, like, that thing that happens to all of us when you're like, I should do this, I should do that,
Yeah.
that inspiration that can come from being at market, being around people that are creatives. I watched this TikTok at one time that was kind of interesting. I don't know if I buy into it, but there's a guy who went to the Beverly Hills Hotel every day, and he talks about how he, couldn't afford even coffee there, but he would just go and he would bring his work, and he would work on his work, and he was starting a company, and he became like a very successful person. And he's like, be in the room where people are already doing what you want to do, because then it feels like it's really possible. So if you're in that room and you are witnessing it, and you're around people that are making that already happen for them, they've already experienced the success. It's much more like, of course this is going to happen to me. In your own mental, we talk about the neuroscience, but that's kind of what he was talking about, is that if you're around people that have that success already, you are going to by product realize you can have that success too. And I think there's something to say about that. I think that there is something to that with market, is just being around this creative energy of all of these people who are already living or already having successful businesses. in part because they're sharing, like, this is how I did this. These are the tools I'm using. But in part because you're like, that energy that you're getting from that too. Like, okay, I can do that. I can make that happen for myself. Don't you think that part of that is what's going on with that?
Yeah. And I think it's really important to, like you're saying, keep it as inspiration. I mean, like, instead of comparison, because
Sure.
there's people at a lot of different levels there. And again, everyone's welcome, but don't go in thinking like you suck because you don't have the $1 million projects or whatever. There's a
No.
very small percentage of people that are at that level. And a lot of times they're the ones speaking on the panels and things, and they can make you feel like, what am I even doing? You know?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
you can learn from it. And, you know, yeah, there's all these people that makes it a real possibility. It is something that you can work toward.
And honestly, you get to meet them, these people who have been your heroes, and you realize, you know, they're people too. You know, they have had struggles in their businesses. They have had, you know, downturns. They've had to lay people off. They've had clients yelling at them. They've had, you know, the same problems that you're going through. And part of that makes you realize, like, you do have that moment of like, of feeling like, well, I'm never going to get that. But you also, once you really talk to them, you realize they're the same as you. Their business might be a different level or a different scale or a different profit center, but they have the client yelling at them about
Yep.
the trim came in and it's the wrong color, just like you do. You know, they have like, they have the same problem.
Everybody.
You know, the same, the contractor didn't show up, you know, like, they have the same problems. I mean, believe me, we do interior design community, those questions every day.
Yeah.
And we have like
So good.
high-end photographer, you know, designers and newbies. They're a lot of times they're like, yes, this happened to me. And one of the most amazing things, and I go up to, you know, I went up to Christopher Kennedy, like, while I was there, and I was like, it's so great you share some of this stuff on interior design community, because it's so powerful for a new person to recognize they're not alone in that, you know, that you are saying that you've been through that. And it makes them feel like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not bad at this.
Yeah.
Like, this is just hard. And I'll get through it. If he can get through it, I can get through it. I'll be okay. You know, some of that is feeling that sense of like, we're all in this together. And you're right there. You have to be careful about the comparison, because I think sometimes meeting those people and realizing that they're human too, and they have some of these same problems actually is so helpful, you know, so helpful. I'm grateful that they do panels and some of them really share real vulnerable stuff, you know, and it's
Yeah.
so important when you're at the top to say, you know, even like weird stuff. Like I remember like when Christopher Kennedy shared that you know, when you get to a certain level, sometimes people think you're always, you know, they have a different problem sometimes. Like people think that they're too expensive or they're too busy. So how did
Try to work with them.
Yes. So they have sometimes they have trouble getting work because people don't recognize they could hire them, that they're still available. So he's like, you have to think of like classy ways that don't seem desperate, that
You know, like,
you
I'm
know,
open for business.
I'm open for business. I'm taking clients. Yeah. You know, that kind of,
Available for hire.
yeah, anytime now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that that's part of the joy, I think, of market is recognizing that, you know, we're all in this together, and to see, you know, to see people at those different levels, to see people at the top of their game, and to see what they're doing with that too, like all of the great licensing deals that happen. Okay, this person has a licensing deal, and really learning what that looks like and how that brings in profit or books or e-commerce, or how people are, how their money is being made, and how they are diversifying in ways that make sense or don't make sense. You know, so sometimes you're learning what not to do as much as you are learning what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's everything.
Yeah. So absolutely. You know, I wanted to just say thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. We were so excited that we got you.
Oh, thank you. Excited to be here. Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, I just want to remind people to, you know, check out your guide. Tell us where they find your guide.
So it's at highpointmarketguide.com. And I put one out every market. So, you know, there's just the spring edition. And there's also like when you're at market, I have table tents in all of the showrooms that are featured in the guide. I have like a top 50 exhibitor list. So make sure there's one and you can scan and get the guide from there. And
wonderful.
actually High Point Market puts it on their website as well. So it's kind of all over the place. I want
That's
as many people to get it as possible so that to save other people time. I put a lot of time into, you know, editing down like which are the best events to go to and which are the best showrooms, and so that they don't have to.
Oh, that is.
Oh wow.
such-
Oh wow, I love this.
I know, right? This is that. So that is something that every one of you needs to download next
This
time.
is so
Like,
cool.
do it. And
Wow.
yes, and thank you so much for coming. We really, really appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to our channel and come back for To the Trade for interior design community. Bye, everyone.